Hello. Welcome in. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us right here, Fantasy Life, with you for the next 2 hours. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis, at KValenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X, on Twitter. If you've got questions for us, you can't call in. Make sure to send them our way. We're going to try and get to as many as we can. But we've got a great show today, Adam. We're going through some of the breakouts that Dwayne McFarland did a write-up for. If you guys haven't gone and checked those articles out yet, 100% free at fantasylife.com. It's going to be a great show. How you doing, Adam? How's it going?
Doing well. I see you there with your Seahawks shirt on.
Yeah, isn't that a sick shirt? Sick shirt.
Yeah.
Shout out to Homage.
Looks like you'll be optimistic before the year, and then let's see what happens during the year.
I mean, I'm always an optimistic person, but I kind of am facing reality of what 2025 could be. Although I meet so many people, though, not even Seahawks fans, that are way higher on Darnold than I am. So maybe I'm just being too negative about him, but I'm not super optimistic. I'm just always going to appear to be happy.
No, I think those people are way more optimistic than you.
I do too. I can't get behind it yet. Maybe if I see him in training camp and everything just looks so polished and clean and good, I can't get behind the offensive line, going from Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison to no offense, like JSN is great, but he is not Justin Jefferson. And then we talked with Kevin O'Connell. We got to talk with him, I think the day after he won Coach of the Year, right? He won Coach of the Year the night before, and that was awesome. But, talking with him about just how he helps his quarterbacks. He's had such a great track record of making Kirk Cousins, even from fantasy purposes, fantasy viable. Sam Darnold, like there's just been so many examples of him being able to elevate quarterbacks. Not to say that the Seahawks camp can't, but
it's such a different scenario. Everything's set up well for Darnold last year with Minnesota, and he excelled. It's a completely different situation this year.
Yeah, so I'm semi-optimistic, at least. I'm
that's
good.
The one good thing about July and August is that every fan base can have at least a reason of optimism.
Who gets more wins this season between us, the Cowboys or the Seahawks? I might lean your Cowboys.
Yeah.
What's your win total set at? Now I'm just throwing numbers at you.
I haven't looked lately, but I think it's 8.5 actually, unless it has risen.
Wow. Okay. What was it last year though? Was it set at the same?
I think it was 10.5 last year.
Oh, that's right. I'm thinking of I'll look it up. Yeah, I'm with you. I think.
Is it 7.5? No way.
Yeah.
But that was several weeks ago. Let's see. That's crazy. 7.5.
I was gonna say I thought I heard. I was gonna say I thought I heard 7.5.
Yeah, I'm seeing 7.5.
Yeah.
What? I would take the over on that.
What about the Seahawks? Do you have them right there?
I think it's 2.5.
Stop.
No, I'm just kidding.
Don't do this. Why do we have to start like this? I know it's not going to be great. It doesn't make me feel good.
My guess is 6.5. Oh, 7. Is it 7.5 too? Yeah.
7.5?
Yeah.
I'm taking the under. No offense, Seahawks fans. And I hope I'm wrong. 7.5 is okay, that's fine. But at least you're going to be more optimistic about the Cowboys this season.
We'll see.
I don't even want to say by a little, though, because I feel like the Schottenheimer hire has been canceled out by the George Pickens trade.
I don't know if it has. We'll find out. I mean, the Pickens trade was definitely something that they needed to do, and definitely feel good about that. But, I mean, it really does come down to Dak Prescott staying healthy. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it definitely does. So, but you already said it. What?
That is okay. Cowboys are 8.5 now. And it's juiced
Okay. 8.5 seems way more. 6.5 was going to be too low.
Yeah, it was never going to be that low. Usually, and remember too, the Cowboys are a team that's heavily bet on, so you're never going to get a favorable line. Like those popular teams, you're just not going to get a good line because they know the public bets on those teams a lot.
America's team. We're less than 50 days away. Kickoff Thursday night. Cowboys, Eagles. You guys got a lot of primetime games, by the way.
I know, 4 Thursday night games.
Yeah, that's...
Well, no, I shouldn't say Thursday night because one of them is afternoon Thanksgiving, which they're always on. And then that's the thing is they always play Thanksgiving
on
Thursday, but then they always play the following Thursday. So that's 2 right there, and then obviously opening night.
Well, hopefully we see Dak Prescott in all of those Thursday games, or else it's going to be really bleak and brutal.
It will not be good.
like you said, we're optimistic right now. That's why it's so fun to be thinking about the NFL and your team in July, because everything looks pretty good so far. Maybe not for some people though, and that's what we want to get into here in this first segment. I just wanted to make sure we go through some of the news that I saw. Some of them are smaller, but definitely wanted to start again with Najee Harris, because we got a report yesterday, Adam, that it looks like we all remember he had that eye injury with the fireworks mishap on the 4th of July. Looks like he's going to likely begin training camp on the non-football injury illness list. That was per their Chargers general manager. So the NFI, if you don't know, like it's fine. Players who suffer injuries outside of just where they're playing or their training camps, are placed on the NFI list. They are either still recovering from injuries or whatever. But at the end of the day, if they remain on the NFI list after the roster is set at 53, that's when they have to miss 4 games. He can come off this list at any time though, once he passes a physical. So again, something to monitor and watch out for, but it doesn't mean right now that he's missing any games. But it's not a good sign. It's not great to start on the NFI list.
It's not, and there's like no details of what's happened. It feels like we're in the
Well,
dark on
there's
everything.
no details because when I was reading yesterday, he hasn't even seen team doctors
Yeah,
yet.
the Chargers medical staff, they don't
Yeah,
know the
he
extent of his
hasn't.
injury.
Yeah, their GM, I pulled a couple quotes, but he said that everything that's been relayed to us has been positive, but he confirmed that they have not seen him yet. He's still getting treatment from his doctors. I believe it was in northern or up in Northern California, I think it was, but he hasn't been seen by them yet. So again, it's not too over. We don't want to overreact and just totally turn and say, I'm only drafting shares of Amari and Hampton. But I've stopped drafting Najee Harris because I want to wait and see what's going on, like what this injury and the extent of this injury could be. So you said it yesterday though, and it's such a good point that coming into training camp, we're gonna figure out some guys that have been injured that still aren't 100%, and this is the time where we start to see some of these reports coming out. So it's always important just to look and watch them if you're doing early drafts, especially. But yeah, I mean, NFI for likely we're going to get that update here in the next day or two that he's going to start officially on the NFI list. But yeah, the medical staff has not seen him yet.
Yeah, they just said they've been in regular contact with Harris's doctors, and after each appointment, everything is relayed to them has been positive. But
Okay.
still, you're going to see Omarion Hampton. He was already rising up draft boards anyway, because I think everyone believes he's going to be the main back, whether it's early in the season, middle, or later. So he is rising up draft boards, and this news is only going to push him up further. You're going to start to see him go, I think, in the third, fourth round.
Yeah, he's been expensive pretty much since they drafted him, but I agree with you. Like you're just going to see him continue to get pushed up draft boards. And I mean, even with this news, it's understandable why. Like if he to me, when we had this conversation last week about rookies and how important it is to go into training camp, get the chemistry going, all that stuff. It's still important even though Najee Harris is a vet and I know we've talked about him, he's got the 1,000-yard seasons under his belt. He's never missed a game. It's still important to just be able to learn that new system, get with your new team. And so if you're missing valuable time, any time is valuable for veterans all the way down to rookies. And so if we're not going to see Najee Harris potentially for a good chunk of camp, it just gives Omari and Hampton, in my opinion, a really clear runway to potentially be that lead back sooner rather than later. Because I was always thinking Omari and Hampton is going to be that lead back eventually, but this now turns that timeline from, oh yeah, maybe it's week 6, week 7. It makes it come sooner potentially.
Yeah, especially if he's in there working with the first team, looks good, is impressive, and yeah, Harris takes some time to get back. And yeah, he's a veteran, but new team, new playbook. So Hampton, it's looking good for him right now. And there was a lot of excitement for him going to this team because of how run heavy they're going to be. And then if Harris is not there, ready to start, it just gives Hampton such an opportunity to kind of take over this backfield.
Yeah, I agree. He's Omari and Hampton RB 14 right now off the board, which
Yeah,
he's really been in that range the whole time though. So that puts him ahead of other guys that we've talked about. James Cook is RB 15. You've got Chuba Hubbard RB 16, Kenneth Walker RB 17.
Look,
I
I
like
can't.
it.
Yeah, you can't argue with it right
Yeah.
now because
No.
it is such a run-heavy team. Uh, you know, and if Harris is going to miss some time, again, we don't know. Harris could
We
be
don't
back
know.
in a week or two, but either way, it's setting up well for Hampton. Even
Yeah.
if, again, if it's a slow start to the season, because I think that's what was anticipated originally. Like, well, Harris is there. He's a veteran. They brought him in. Coaches like him. Maybe it's a split early on, but this gives Hampton every opportunity while Harris is sidelined to seize that backfield.
I saw a question asking if we should consider, throwing late round darts on Hassan Haskins, Kamani Vidal. I don't think I'm going that far yet. I think I want to wait. If you're in like deeper leagues, it's a different conversation, but I do think that there's time to wait on that information. Those are guys that even if we get closer to the season, feel like if it really does need to go that far and we just don't get clarity closer to week one that you could get off waiver wires, I don't expect them to be drafted. But I understand thinking that far ahead and thinking down the depth chart, but I'm not
Yeah,
going to
I
go there.
agree with you. We're not there today. I don't think we're
Mhm.
there yet. Let's give this some time and see. I mean, Harris could be at camp next week for all we know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, all right, next one that I just wanted to go through here is Stefan Diggs. Not good news, not bad news, but just an update from the Athletics Chad Graff. He believes that Stefan Diggs will, quote, likely open camp by working on the side until he's cleared from his injury. This was a knee injury coming in from Stefan Diggs. He did suffer that torn ACL in week 8 of last season. But I will say, Adam, like he's already on a good path in my opinion because we saw him during spring practices. He was out there in a limited capacity with the team. I just wanted to bring this up because in this write up from Graf, he did say that it does remain a possibility that he could start the season on PUP. But this is just another one where we say, hey, we're coming into camp. We need to know the guys that potentially have not red flags, but you got to proceed with caution. You always have to have a plan. If something goes wrong in their rehab or something else like that, you have to be kind of okay just in case they give you a 0 for maybe a few weeks. But Stefan Diggs' involvement in camp will be monitoring. We're going to be monitoring that for the Patriots because that's their wide receiver one. He's important to them.
Yeah, he's important too if like Drake May, right? You don't need Diggs to have a huge fantasy season, but that veteran presence, a guy that can get open, I think you need that for May. I don't think people are excited about Diggs in fantasy, obviously. You see his price, it's very cheap. And again, an older player coming off an injury is not ideal. So you do want to see him healthy in camp. You are correct. I mean, in those videos that we saw, he looked like he was running fine.
Yeah,
But
yeah, he looked good.
it's a lot different though when you're on the field taking hits and against actual defenders. But it did look good based on what we saw. But now you need to see him on the field though.
His price though, I haven't minded. I've been drafting him just straight up because if I believe that Drake May is going to take a step forward, I've needed to work on, the correlation between some of those thoughts. Like last season, didn't take as much like I didn't take as much Terry McLaurin, but in the back of my mind, I'm like if we like Jaden Daniels so much and we thought that he could come out not only as a good runner but a good passer through the air, I was like I probably should have moved Terry McLaurin up in my rankings. So for me, we've talked about Drake May a lot before, and people listening know that we like him. But Stephon Diggs with a wide receiver 44 price tag going around Khalil Shakir, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, Josh Downs. Like I think everything's baked into that price with the injury, with the age, and then coming in with a new team. But I still like drafting him there.
Yeah, I haven't drafted him anywhere, and I don't think
Ah,
I will. Yeah,
fine. Come
these
on.
I don't know these.
Have some fun. Take some risk.
It's not fun drafting Diggs, is it?
It's not. No, it's not. It's not. But if we do believe that Drake May, I know that a lot of it is, with the potential of him on the ground with his legs because he's got the rushing upside, but live a little. Come on. Draft his wide receiver one. Have
Yeah,
some fun.
it's not going to happen for me. I'll leave the Diggs shares to
All
you.
right. It's not that much, by the way. Don't make it seem like I've got like, 15% exposure. I don't.
Yeah, older players not my thing.
No Adam Thielen?
No,
Come on. Come
definitely not.
on.
Although
Who's the who,
it might be, we had Paul Charchian on early in the week talking about guillotine, and that's different,
might
but it
do
is a
it?
different format,
Yeah,
because
it
Thielen
is.
gives you that high floor. You can get you 10 points every week.
All right. You can have the highest exposure to Adam Thielen on guillotine leagues. How's that? Stephon Diggs. I'll take Diggs. You take Adam Thielen. We'll see where it goes.
Uh, okay. Yeah. Well, you might
All
get
right.
zeros the first few weeks.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. That's the whole point. Good, there we go. But we're tying it up because I have to prepare for potential zeros from Stephon Diggs. The last one that I just wanted to bring up because it is relevant is Quinnshon Judkins. Cleveland's Mary Kay Cabot did report yesterday that the Browns are, quote, in no rush to sign Quinnshon Judkins to his rookie contract or to get him to training camp on time. Again, this is one where this really is important, though, Adam. I mean, we've got a lot of people, us included, doing early drafts in July. And so we don't really know where this situation is going to lead with Quinnshon Judkins, but you still have Jerome Ford on that team who we've talked about a little bit. I know you didn't necessarily love Jerome Ford because you made the point of this team had Jerome Ford, they went on and drafted two other rookie running backs. So besides him, you've got Dylan Sampson, Pierre Strong. Again, this situation, we're going to say it the whole first segment here, but it's just fluid. We just have to watch what's going to happen there.
I think if you're drafting now, you just have to pass him at this point, Judkins, right?
You should.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen any clear indication of what what a suspension would look like or if he would even play. We have
It's
no
not
idea.
that.
Really.
I mean, they are already saying basically, all right, don't worry about your contract right now. Take care of this. So how long is that going to last?
I mean, he could get placed on paid leave
I
after
don't think
signing the
well,
contract.
after signing the contract,
Yeah,
yeah,
because
but
that's what happened this happened last season with the Browns. The Browns. Anyway, it was Mike Hall. He was placed on leave after being charged with domestic violence.
yeah, look, if he's going to go where he was, and he's going to fall, I'm looking at giraffes over
As
the
he
last.
should.
He's gone as late as 98 in the NFFC online championships since the 14th, which was Monday. So, and I'm sure that's when you see drafts today, tomorrow, it's going to fall even more. So, I don't know. I would pass. I would pass. Maybe if it gets to around 10 or 11, maybe that's where
Okay.
I'd take a shot, right?
That's what I was going to ask you because I understand another part of people are going to say, well, when do we stop the fall and when do we just say, all right, I'm going to take the risk with this guy. He's fallen, I think, 20 spots in ADP on
It's going to be
Underdog, so
more.
he's RB 30. Oh, it's going to continue being more.
I think
But
so,
I'm with
yeah.
you. I haven't drafted. I have to check. I think I've drafted him a couple times, but that was earlier in the offseason. Haven't taken him since this news. And it's just one where Jerome Ford now is going to be someone that we question whether we go after. And same with Dylan Sampson, the other rookie that they drafted.
Yeah, those guys definitely moving up. I prefer. I mean, it might be Ford early because he's the veteran and he's been there.
Or Pierre Strong. I don't want to necessarily count him out either.
Yeah. So, yeah, those guys are going to move up a little bit until we get more clarification on exactly what's going to go on with Judkins.
I just don't know if I want any piece of that, to be totally honest.
That's fair too.
Like I don't know. It just doesn't feel good to start the season. And could potentially just continue to get worse. But again, these are guys where it's just a proceed with caution kind of thing. Just make sure if you are drafting, one of Quinnshon Judkins, Stephon Diggs, we're watching Naji Harris, just to continue looking at those updates and making sure that you're comfortable, just in case something bad does happen in the next couple weeks in training camp, putting those zeros up and making sure you have a plan B just in case. We're going to continue on here, though. I mentioned at the start of the show, Dwayne McFarland always does great work, but he's got his year 2 and 3 wide receiver breakout candidates for fantasy football. He put a ton of research into this. It's split up into 2 articles that are live at fantasylife.com. 100% free. I'll tweet them out too in the break so you guys can go and find them. But you want to definitely look through these articles. We're going to give you just 2 or 3 names out of these articles. And let me tell you, there's about 12 people that you want to keep an eye on here. So make sure you go and check those out. Year 2 and 3 wide receiver breakouts coming up next. Oh yeah, we've got you covered. I've got you covered for the fantasy season. Same with Adam. He's always working late because he doesn't go to bed at a reasonable time. And then Fantasy Life is working for you for the upcoming season. FantasyLife.com. You see what I did there? It's so good.
I actually tried to go to sleep at midnight last night.
How'd it work?
It didn't go well.
Okay.
It took a while to fall asleep, but I tried. The lights were off, cell phone, no TV, wasn't watching anything.
Really?
Because I wasn't feeling well, so I tried to
Yeah,
sleep, and
that
it took a
stinks.
while.
You need You need something. I don't know what it
I know.
is, and we haven't figured it out yet, but it'll happen. I can feel it. Just like I said all last season. It'll happen.
And
Probably not.
it didn't. So
Probably
we'll
not.
see.
You have some coffee this morning at
I
least?
did not know.
What is your problem? Okay, well, I'm just gonna stop
I know
asking
you
until.
did.
Oh, for sure. I have to. It's yeah, 7
Two cups so
a.m.
far?
No, just one.
Just
Just
one?
one so
Okay.
far. Yeah. Yeah, just one cup. And I know everyone listening's got their coffee in their hand, ready to go because it's the morning. We're getting ready for fantasy football season. Less than 50 days away from kickoff of that Thursday night game like we said. Eagles Cowboys Eagles at home, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Eagles are
has
going
to
to be
be.
home.
There you go. And you'll get a lot more Cowboys games throughout the season as well.
I
But
don't know if that's good or bad. Sometimes you
it's
just like,
not
I don't know
great.
if I want to
I don't
watch
know.
this. I
Making
watch it though,
I'm
but
nervous. I'm nervous for you, but it's fine. It's fine. It's gonna go probably better than the Seahawks, so I'll be jealous by the end of the year.
who does Seattle open up against?
I don't even know.
You really don't know? How do you
No,
not
I have no
know?
idea. I don't because I don't we don't get prime time games like
So
that.
what? Okay,
I just don't know.
49ers
Yeah, great.
at Seattle. You never know. McCaffrey might not play.
Why would you put that out
I'm
there?
just
Why would
saying.
you even do that?
You
Yeah,
can't trust the
they open
medical
up with
staff for them.
40 49ers, Steelers, Saints, Cardinals. Mm,
Okay, you got the
yeah,
Saints. There you
you could
go.
get 2 wins in there, maybe one. That'll be good. It'll be fine. Everything's going to be great. I'm going to be positive about it, and it's going to go swimmingly. But we want to talk about some breakout wide receivers, potential year 2 and 3 breakout wide receivers for fantasy. And I mentioned how amazing Dwayne McFarland is. He's on a much deserved vacation this week, but we're still going to talk through this article right now. It is live at fantasylife.com, and then also I just tweeted it out. So at Valenzuela 17 is where you can find me on Twitter. But I just retweeted the article. So if you guys want to make sure and go check it out or have someplace to go and find it, it is there right now. But this is a fantastic article. A lot of research went into this, Adam. So it's not just him, listing off players that he hopes are going to break out. He went through all the data. He crunched the numbers, as we like to say. And he found that based on his historical data, that wide receivers reach their max potential in years 2 through 5, with year 2 representing the most significant jump or the biggest opportunity for a breakout for wide receivers. So the names we give you, it's not to say that, guys like Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors had 18.1 points per game last season. Brian Thomas Jr. had 16.5. Dwayne has said if they've already shown you, that they are wide receiver 1 caliber receivers, they're likely going to keep doing that in 2025. So you're not going to see those names on here essentially because they already broke out. But we've got some really good guys that we can kind of go through here. So I wanted to start one of the names that I know we haven't talked much about, and that's where I'm trying to go with some of these names instead of giving you the obvious. But Xavier Worthy for the Chiefs was his second guy on this article that he said has potential to break out, to really break out in this second season. So his previous high was wide receiver 4 finish, wide receiver 1 late as a rookie though, and then consensus ADP right now, wide receiver 24 going in round 5. But I do think this is interesting because we've been talking a little bit about Rashee Rice, but when Worthy was given that full-time trusted role, it completely changed for him, and it was amazing to watch because he averaged an 87% route participation rate and put up really good numbers for us in fantasy. So I do think that it's not, again, a name, like not a name way down the list, but Xavier Worthy potentially being a year 2 breakout with Patrick Mahomes is someone that I'm definitely circling in my drafts.
It is going to be interesting to see how they utilize him now that Rice is back. And it also goes into a bigger talk, too, of, okay, is this Chiefs team going to become more pass heavy? Or they were high in pass attempts last year, but it was a lot of dump offs. They didn't really throw deep. They didn't open up the offense. So when Rice was there, his first 3 games, he put up great numbers. Then it took Worthy some time because if you watch, he was a little raw. He was making a lot of mistakes. But we've said this before with a lot of rookies, it does take time. And that's where the importance of being on the field in training camp and practice and then getting the game reps can really help. And Worthy didn't immediately step up when Rice went down. There was a lot of down games. And I think there were people that dropped him too. Obviously Rice goes down. You're like, okay, here's a big opportunity for Worthy. And there were a lot of games where he just didn't do much. In fact, he had a game against Tampa where he had a 0. I think that was the game too. He didn't get in bounds like on a play on the sideline. But then after that, he started to take off and looked really good, and the targets were there. So, that's going to be the big question. What's the target distribution between him and Rice? Or is it just going to be both those guys are very productive? Because the way they're being drafted, people are expecting both those guys to go off because they're essentially being drafted as top 20, top 25 wide receivers.
And I'm
Both.
surprised looking at that because, and I don't know if it's maybe that some people are on Rashi Rice and others are on
Mhm.
Xavier Worthy, where
Yeah.
it's just a big split because I can't imagine both those guys going that high because we just haven't seen that kind of Patrick Mahomes and that kind of offense, for both of them to be like that. I mean, Mahomes ranked 33rd in air yards per attempt last season, according to True Media. When you go back further than that, he ranks 40th in air yards per attempt since 2022. Among all the qualifying quarterbacks. There's a great article. If anyone has the subscription to the Athletic, why Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense must rediscover their explosive ways, and it's a great article written over there. So I recommend everyone go and look at it. But that's the big question. I think when I look on Underdog, I think it's people either planting their flag and saying I believe it's going to be Xavier Worthy, and the others believing that it's going to be Rashi Rice. But the way they handle Worthy, I want to say you can't, whatever it is, you can't put the genie back in the bottle, toothpaste back in the tube. I much prefer the genie in a bottle analogy, but then I look at it though, and Rashi Rice is probably going to get most of the underneath looks. Like that's something that Dwayne pointed out too in this article, and something that we've seen from him. So Worthy, we know, was a deep threat in college, 28% of his targets. Intermediate game, we don't usually get that from him. So I'm going to be interested to see like where Worthy is this season, but to think that he could be a potential breakout, he's cheaper too. So
A
cheaper, I
little
say
cheaper, yeah.
lightly cheaper. But the ceiling floor, we've talked about this with our projections. It is a great new upgrade at fantasylife.com. One of my favorite things to go and look at. So when we look at potentially Xavier Worthy's upside, his floor projection is 10 fantasy points per game, gives him a wide receiver 4 outlook. The median projection is 13.1. The ceiling, it jumps so high at him. It goes to 19.1 fantasy points per game, which is far and away a wide receiver 1 finish. So, I mean, his closest comparisons, according to Dwayne McFarland, is wide receiver 2 or better finish. That happens 69% of the time in year 2 with someone like Xavier Worthy, and then a wide receiver 1 finish for him. Guys like him in that historical data come out 26% of the time. So I'm in. I'm not completely out on Xavier Worthy. Obviously, I've taken more Worthy than compared to Rashi Rice. But yeah, you always have to think in the back of your mind what's Rashi Rice's role going to do, and how much is that going to bring down his potential fantasy production.
Yeah, getting this right is going to be key because when we saw Rice last year, I mean, those 3 games were phenomenal. 7 catches, 103 yards, and 9 targets. 5 for 75 with a touchdown on 6 targets. 14 targets, 12 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. So,
Yep.
again, only 3 games. What is his health? I mean, we saw a video of him. He looked really good too. But again, they're going to look good in these videos. Let's see what happens in training camp. But yeah, look, Rice is expensive though. I can't believe how much he
Yeah.
costs. Like he's a second round pick right now.
Yeah, I can't. Like I said, I haven't been doing it. I just gut feeling. Well, so are you back? Because I remember you took between you and Dwayne McFarland, you guys might have taken all the Rashi Rice shares. And there was a good reason for it. He was on his way to a solid season before that injury. So are you back on him or are you not? It sounds like you're not with that price.
I want to be in
Uh-huh.
because we saw how good it can look, but it is pricey. I mean, look, if you're not picking you have to basically pick in the top 4 to get Rice because
Mhm.
you either got to take him on the second round on the turn or early third. Otherwise, you're not getting them based on what I've seen. Now, again, every platform is different. There's going to be platforms where maybe Rice is lower. So again, I'm sure on Yahoo he's going to go later. Sleeper, he'll go
Yes.
later.
Yep. ESPN later, I
Yeah.
think too. Yeah.
So he'll be more affordable there, but I think in like these high stakes and competitive leagues, obviously underdog, you're going to have to spend an early pick. And some people might look at it and go, it's a little too risky right now. Whereas Worthy will be more in the fourth round.
I think the Chiefs in general are going to be an interesting team this season and what, they look like. I know that we're saying that and this team still went to the Super Bowl last season and we were there and we covered them, which is crazy that on a down season or on a season where we look around and say, some of these stats aren't matching up what we usually see with Patrick Mahomes and company, but I mean, they really did look overmatched last season against good defenses. And so, in that article I referenced on The Athletic, you should go read it. But, getting back to those explosive ways, they were dead last in explosive play rate, but fifth in success rate last season in 2024. So again, we're talking about the Chiefs, and they still went to the Super Bowl with all of this. But one of the big questions I think is going to be which receiver. If maybe Adam, in our wildest dreams, maybe it's both. Maybe there can be two, solid, receivers for the Chiefs that do us well in fantasy. I think we're just not expecting that, I guess. Obviously in drafts, they're going so close together that people are maybe picking one or the other. But we'll
Look,
see.
it's possible if they open up the offense. They didn't have these guys healthy together at all. I mean, the first 3 games that Rice played, Worthy was a rookie, didn't have a big role. He developed, even was able to get things done on the ground. So if you have him, you have Rice and Hollywood Brown. That is a lot of speed that the defenses have to worry about. And then, yeah, that guy Travis Kelce too doesn't have speed. I didn't say that, but it will open things up, maybe for some easy catches over the middle. So I think this is what the hope was last year. Like, I thought Mahomes would be better because of all those weapons, and then Rice goes down in
Yeah.
week 4, and and then Hollywood Brown didn't come back till late in the year. So they never really had the full arsenal, and it looks like they will going into the season. And let's not forget, too, Isaiah Pacheco, who came
Yep.
back. He was good at the first few games, got hurt. You can't really look at what he did and when he returned from the broken fibula. He was not the same player, and the reports are he's put on some weight. He looks good. So if they have everything working, you could see them, have an explosive offense.
Yeah, I think that's what I think people have been saying that, but that's what they kind of need to get back to. And I think it was very evident last season against really good defenses. I mean, even just look at the Super Bowl. I mean, it's just one of those things that they might want to get back to. But again, Rashi Rice returning from that injury, Xavier Worthy having that year of experience and having, the solid showing towards the end of the season. Travis Kelce, there's reports he's slimmed down, Adam. We always get the, best shape of his life tweets. I've already seen it for Travis Kelce for the retirement tour. Ah,
I'd
wouldn't it be
hope so.
crazy if
Like,
Travis
if
Kelce
you
was
know
good this
this is
year?
probably going to be your last year, you better
He's
come in
ready
in
to
great
go.
shape.
He's ready. Should we change the rankings? Update the
No.
ranks?
I mean, how
Okay,
much
fine.
higher can you put Kelsey?
You're right. You're right. You can't go because the tight end landscape is not that great, but he's slimmed down, so we'll have to see it. I do want to go through one more name here. And again, we're going through the year 2, year 3 potential breakout wide receivers from Dwayne McFarland because this is someone I missed out on last year. And you might think, well, didn't he already break out? But there's potential for this receiver to do even more. And you're probably gonna get in on him. So we're gonna give you that name and more coming up next. There's Adam's music. The sleep remix. I think that's what we should call it.
I'm jealous
There
of
we
people
go.
who just lay down on a bed and fall asleep right away. It's not fair. I can't do
Yeah,
that. It's like
that's
a whole
me.
project. That's you, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Just close my eyes.
Lucky.
I'm sorry. I know. We'll figure it out this year.
You
I
said that
sound
last year. You didn't
well,
help.
I think this I definitely did not help. I didn't send you anything. Maybe a sleep mask, you know? I don't know.
I don't know.
Melatonin. I'm unsure. I'm unsure where you go from here.
I guess I'll have to try
Um,
some melatonin one day. I didn't want
yeah,
to resort to that, but
when you don't
here
show
we
up for the
are.
show, it's 7:58 and I'm like, "Where's Adam?" Sleeping because he took our advice. That's fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
I'll
be
sleep
good.
for like 2 days straight.
Honestly, you probably need it. So that's probably going to be a good thing. Going through the year 2 and 3 potential wide receiver breakouts for fantasy football. Again, this article is from Dwayne McFarland live on the website. I tweeted it out too. So it's right at the top of my feed at Valenzuela 17 to go and check that out. Article is 100% free. So make sure you go and look at it. Based on the historical data that Dwayne went through, it looks like, in years 2 through 5, wide receivers reach their max potential. We're going through second second-year receivers that could break out for 2025. Already mentioned Xavier Worthy in the last segment. The next guy I just wanted to bring up because he is it. Dwayne said his favorite wide receiver one breakout candidate for 2025. I'm curious what you think. It's Ladd McConkey for the Chargers. So Ladd McConkey, again, going into year two, previous high was a wide receiver two finish. Wide receiver one most of his rookie season. Consensus ADP right now, wide receiver 11. And just for reference, when we're saying wide receiver one finish, that is 16 plus points per game. Wide receiver two, the range is 13.5 to 15.9. And then we're not talking wide receiver threes, but that is 11.5 to 13.4 fantasy points per game. So Ladd McConkey averaged 14.9 points in 2025. You saw him take over that starting role in the two wide receiver sets in week 3. So from week 3 on until their wild card game, he was averaging 16.9 points per game, 26% target share, 77 utilization score. He was on fire the whole time. I didn't have enough Ladd McConkey last season. I was too focused on Rome Odunze, but it's fine. We can make up for that this season. What do you think about Ladd McConkey, who again was kind of an offseason winner, Adam? I thought they were going to go out and get a Devontae Adams. Not to say that Trey Harris isn't going to be good, but he ran pretty pure this offseason in terms of just not getting as much competition as I thought he would.
Yeah, he had a really good year. I think I had him on one team, and especially down the stretch. I mean, it was great because he was going off every week. The one concern I have with him is injuries. He had in college, and last year he didn't really miss any time. I think he missed one game, but he had a hip injury in week 6, shoulder and knee injuries in week 13, and some other little injuries too. And the wide receivers coach for them was talking about that, about how he needs to learn to go down better so he doesn't take these big hits. So I think that's just one of the concerns. But yeah, he's in a good spot. And the thing is, though, you have to be like, you can't say, oh, I'm definitely getting this guy, because another guy,
No.
it depends where you draft. Because if you're drafting early first round, unless you take him in the first round, you're not getting him, right? He typically goes mid second round. So, and then
Yeah.
if you pick at the end, you'd have to reach on him. Like if you're picking 12,
Yeah.
right? Because he's not making it back. So that's the tricky part. If you really are very high on him, it comes down to where you're picking in a draft.
Yeah, but I mean, you could go get your guys. I was one that did that with Marvin Harrison Jr. last season,
How'd that work
and
out?
hey, at least I admitted. At least we admit when we're wrong on this
Of
show, and that
course,
was
look,
very wrong. But
everyone's going to be wrong. Like,
oh,
you could be one of
for
the
sure.
best fantasy football players. You're going to get a lot of things wrong. You just can't predict everything correctly. You just hope to get
Yeah.
more right than other people in the leagues you're in.
Yeah, and Ladd McConkey right now is going. He's got an overall ADP of 18, so right
Yeah.
in the middle of that second round. So you're right. I mean, if you're sitting 10, even 9, 10, 11, 12, like if you want him, you have to probably take him on that turn and take him ahead of guys like Drake London, AJ Brown, because I'm gonna just assume that Brian Thomas Jr. is not there anymore. But I mean, you could look at Ladd McConkey and say, well, look at the numbers, look what he has the potential to do. Because, like I said, they added Trey Harris in the second round of the draft. He's holding out right now. He did not show up to that training camp. That's another thing that we really need to pay attention to, and that is making me just a little bit nervous. Because anytime you get training camp holdouts, you always want to look at it and say, we just had this conversation in the first segment. Getting chemistry with your quarterback and learning everything, getting up to game speed. And you don't even get up to game speed in training camps, and you cannot do that until you get into those actual games. But for Trey Harris, waiting, we're always team guys, get your money, because they want more guaranteed money in those contracts. So I understand that, but you're gonna lose if he stays out long enough. You're gonna lose valuable time, and so that's not something we want to see. You've got Quentin Johnston still on the team, which he could rise up draft boards just because of all this other stuff going on. Mike Williams was placed on pup NFI.
Yeah,
something
yeah.
pup last couple days ago. So that receiver 2 role is still kind of a question mark. We have an idea of who it should be with Trey Harris, but we'll just have to wait. McConkey's range of outcomes, though, the ceiling floor projections is nice. Wide receiver 3 floor, 12.7 fantasy points per game. The median projection, Adam, is a wide receiver 1 finish at 16.1 fantasy points per game. The ceiling sits at 20.9. So compare that to Xavier Worthy, where he was getting, it was wide receiver 3 floor, wide receiver 2 median, wide receiver 1 ceiling. With Ladd McConkey, you're sitting 16.1, 20.9 fantasy points per game are both wide receiver 1 potentials with the median and ceiling projections. So it looks good for him. Again, people are already probably going to know that, but just saying that, you might have thought that the breakout happened last season, but Dwayne is sitting here saying it actually could get better potentially for him. And so if you are in the back half of those drafts, you're going to have to go after him early. And then if you're in the middle, you're probably just taking him a good percentage of the time.
Yeah, he typically goes middle of the second round.
Mm-hmm.
So that's you're going to have to be in that area. But we did see him explode and just break off these long plays. And yeah, if you had him last year, it was a lot of fun, especially that second half of the season because
Yeah.
he put up some big performances. And even in the fantasy playoffs, 16.8, 14.7, 29.4.
Yeah, he was a winner. He was a league winner for you. And congratulations. I have him wide receiver 11 right now.
So you
I
would
might
take
move
AJ
him.
Brown over him, right?
Might move him up. Yeah.
Uh,
I don't every year I just feel like AJ Brown is somewhat disrespected in fantasy,
well, I
but
think this year he is being.
yeah, it's he's going where is he?
You could. I've seen him
He's
fall to
going
the
ahead
late.
of Vlad McConkey though in the second round.
I guess it depends on. It depends on the
It's
day and where
underdog.
you're drafting too.
Yeah. The overall the consensus board, so that takes all the drafts and gives us that ADP. He goes ahead of Vlad McConkey, but I don't usually see that. But I do have AJ Brown ahead of him. And Drake London, which I think I might change that now.
Really? I mean, I
Lad
don't,
top 10?
I would take Drake London over McConkey.
Okay.
Yeah, I
T
would.
Higgins?
No, McConkey over
Okay.
Higgins.
So basically 11. You have him close to 11, 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He could be good again. I am really though nervous about some of these training camp holdouts, but we'll just have to see what
It's
happens.
every year. Like we cannot
I
go
know.
through a
Yeah,
training
but it's
camp.
not
No,
every year that
not
you've got
no.
all
I didn't say that. I'm saying it's
okay.
always something with
Oh,
players off the
yes.
field, contract issues. Like we can never get through a training camp smoothly.
No, we have to have some of the drama. You just have to watch out for it. All right. That article is live at fantasylife.com. So make sure you go and check it out. Dwayne McFarland did a phenomenal job, has a ton of players that you want to check out. One potential breakout from each team. Since we're talking breakouts here, the Athletic put out their ideas for breakout players. I've got some names for you that you're not going to expect from this list. We're going to go through them coming up next. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here, Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. One potential breakout from each team. That is what the Athletic put out. So you guys can go and check that out at theathletic.com. But it was essentially a list from all the beat reporters from each team going through who could potentially break out. I want to bring up one and then you can bring up one. I wanted to bring up Terrence Ferguson for the Rams from Jordan Rodriguez. She is amazing. If you don't follow her, make sure you go and do that because she just puts out incredible work every single week. But she said Terrence Ferguson was her pick for potential breakout player, which always is intriguing to me because Terrence Ferguson was their 46th pick overall in the NFL draft. And so I'm looking through it. She has, some solid intel, but she does say that Sean McVay has committed to a significant increase in 12 personnel for Ferguson to truly emerge this season, which if that is true, he could be one. I have 0% of Terrence Ferguson, but could be a waiver wire pickup depending on how deep your league is. Could be someone that you throw a late round dart at. Kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
you just take note of these things and put it in the back of your mind and go, okay, let's see how this plays out because, like you said, no one is drafting him. Maybe in a tight end premium league where in the last couple rounds you're taking a chance, but right now he's not on the radar. So
Yeah.
just something to pay attention to because We know there are going to be people coming out of drafts that are going to have tight end issues. Week
For
one,
sure.
week two, you're going to take that tight end, feel good, and then watch a game or two and be like, oh boy, I'm in trouble at the tight end position. So maybe that's a
Every year.
name that could emerge off the waiver wire at some point.
Which one did you like off this list? Who did you like?
Did I like?
Okay, who do you want to talk about? I won't say who did you like. Who did you want to mention?
Yeah, I mean, there was Rasheed Rice was on this list. That seems kind of weird, right? Isn't that too
Okay.
easy? I mean, Luke McCaffrey for Washington.
Yeah, I saw that one.
That
I feel
one
like
was
we talked
interesting.
about him last year too.
Yeah,
So
no, there were
we
people
did.
hoping that you were going to get something out of him last year. We just didn't
Yeah,
see it,
it's kind of
and
interesting.
they still, they brought in Debo, but they
Hmm.
could use another weapon to emerge for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, it says the note here is that McCaffrey has put results on display, has demonstrated an improved understanding of the playbook and improved confidence as well.
Wait,
I
wait,
know.
how was Brian Thomas on this list? Didn't he
Oh,
already
is
break
he?
out?
Stop. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
he broke out already. Yeah, 87 catches, 1282, and 10
Maybe we have the
touchdowns.
old list.
No,
No, we
that's.
don't. Okay. We're going to keep going. He's going to break out again, which, I mean, could he
Oh
do
no,
better?
Jaden Higgins. That's what I like on this
Oh,
list. Yeah.
okay. I like that. I like that. All right. That article is live at The Athletic. That's the one we were referencing here. It is our favorite time of the day, though. Time for that fantasy life water cooler, going through all the news and notes, taking your phone calls as well. We're heading there next. It is our favorite time of the day. Time for that Fantasy Life water cooler right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, getting you ready for the season. Less than 50 days away till kickoff. That means your drafts are coming up. So we've got you covered at fantasylife.com. Make sure you head over there and check out all of the new upgrades that we have at fantasylife.com. It looks amazing. We've got Rankings HQ. We want to make sure that all of your rankings are customized to your settings. So make sure you sync your league with any of our 10 major platforms as well. We've got Draft Champion, Fantasy HQ. We've got all those projections that I talk about here. So like I said, the upgrades have been amazing. The team has been hard at work all off season long. So fantasylife.com to check it out. SXM20, that's the code that gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 Fantasy Life subscription. SXM20 at checkout. And then while you're there, you can sign up for that newsletter in your inbox 7 days a week. And same with our articles, 100% free. All right, Adam, you ready to go?
Ready to
I,
go.
I saw, I saw, I, oh, and let me give you the phone number. What am I doing? What are we doing? Come on. 888-963-2682 is the phone number to call in, or you can push that new call in button on the SiriusXM app. But we are here to answer your questions. If you can't get through on the phone lines, if you don't have time right now to call, send us a message on X over there, at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis. I see someone already said that you shouldn't take melatonin because you will just stay awake. That's not good. Rob. Shout out to Rob. You need to
Yeah,
take a
I
sleeping pill.
did take a sleeping pill once years ago because I had to get up early, like 5, 6 a.m. for a softball tournament. So I
That
said, all
doesn't
right, let me
feel
take
like
a pill. It kept me awake the entire night.
that doesn't feel like the right way to. If you're waking up early, I feel like you wouldn't want to take a sleeping pill.
Well, no, take it to fall asleep. I'll set my alarm.
Oh,
I'm a light sleeper, and if I set the alarm, I'm going to wake up. I'm not going to sleep through it.
okay.
So, and it didn't work. It kept me awake all night.
Well, that's yikes. We'll figure it out. Eventually, at some point, we have to figure this out this year, and then it'll be great and amazing.
Or just going to have to go through life like this and hope
Yeah,
it doesn't take a
or
major
that.
toll down the road.
Jeez. Happy Thursday, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. All right, let's get into it. Got some news here. Let me just mention the ones we hit off the top in case anyone wasn't here for that first hour. But Naji Harris looks like he's going to start camp on the NFI list. That's the non-football injury illness list. Players who remain on that list after the 53-man roster is set at the end of camp will be placed on PUP. They have to miss those 4 games. But before that, he can return at any time. There's no limit to that at all. He just has to pass that physical. So that's what we're looking at for Naji Harris. We also have to watch out. Stephon Diggs will likely open camp working on the sidelines until he is cleared from his injury. But just 2 things we want to pay attention to, Adam. I think we're way more concerned about the Naji Harris potential. Not potential. There is an eye injury there, but just his potential of missing training camp and how that could affect him. That's the one we're watching for.
Yeah, and we just don't have details. Like, we have no
No.
idea. We're just going based on what they're hearing from Harris's doctors that's being relayed to the Chargers. So that's what makes this so complex is they keep saying, yeah, he's fine, but oh yeah, he's, not ready yet. Like
Yeah.
we don't know any details. So it's very odd.
Wait and see. We'll just have to literally we're just going to have to wait and try and figure out what's going on. But it's good. Unfortunately, we don't want injuries, but it is good news for Omarion Hampton drafters. That's the other thing. If you've been drafting Omarion Hampton early and just kind of waiting for the potential RB1 takeover, like that's just in my opinion, when we're looking at this, I know it's veterans and they have a lot of experience under their belts with Naji Harris, but he's on a new team. He needs to start establishing some chemistry, start, getting into that playbook and stuff and doing that with his team. So it is no matter if you're a vet or you're a rookie, you're going into a new team, a new season. And so I think that is going to hinder him just a little bit. So it could, not to say that now Omarion Hampton's the overall RB1 in that offense, but it does make a potential, switch to that look like it could be earlier rather than later.
Look, I think fantasy players were already anticipating Hampton being the RB1 in this offense at some point this season, whether it's week 4, middle of the season, late in the year. Now, part of that is we don't like Naji Harris because he's not explosive, right? He doesn't break
Naji Harris.
I'm just saying general fantasy players, right? We want these explosive players putting up big numbers, breaking long runs. You don't get that with Naji Harris. Now, coaches love Naji Harris because he's always available and he does the little things, all right? You need 3 yards, he's going to get you 3 or 3.4. He's not going to get you 27 yards usually. So, but, and also fantasy players, we're enamored with young rookie talent. So, Hampton was going to rise regardless. This is just going to make it even a little bit more because Hampton has a head start here. He gets an opportunity to work with the first team. And, if he goes out there and looks as good and explosive as we think, it's just going to give him a head start. And it's reflected in the draft price.
It is.
He is just going to, and it's going to continue to rise. So if you were doing early drafts and you got Hampton, good for you because it's going to cost you a lot more now.
Yeah, the split in the touches, and these are going to be these do not reflect any of the news right now, so these will be updated. But at the beginning, the split was 236 to Hampton, 157 to Harris. But again, like he was Omarion Hampton in the rookie supermodel was graded out as the second best running back in this class. You've got, of course, to Ashton Genty, but you've also got him comped to guys like Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, in terms of the prospect profile that he was coming out with. So it's good news. We don't want injuries, but it is good news for Omarion Hampton drafters and people thinking that they had to wait a long time. You might not have to wait as long as we thought. So again, we'll just keep looking out for Naji Harris and see what's going to happen there. It's so disappointing.
I see what you did there.
I didn't say it though. I didn't say it. I was gonna say we're gonna keep an eye. I even wrote this yesterday. I felt so bad I deleted it. We're gonna keep an eye on it because I always say that, and I'm like,
and
it's
then
not in poor taste.
Yeah.
Stop. Okay. Well, we have to wait and see. Stop. Okay. We have to wait and figure out what's going to happen. Get out of here. You're horrible. You're horrible.
I didn't say it. You did. I'm just
I didn't say it with
to
that
what
intention. I apologize.
Okay. I thought
Did
there was
not say it with
there.
that. No, stop it. Get out of here, stirring the pot. Make sure, again, you're calling in here. We've got the phone lines open, 888-963-2682, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. Jamar Chase said yesterday, someone will have a 2,000 receiving yard season in the next 3 years. So that's not to say this year or next season, but in the next 3 years, potentially, there is going to be a 2,000 receiving yard season by someone. Jamar Chase led the league 1,708 receiving yards during the 2024 season. We know that Tyreek Hill has been very vocal about wanting 2,000 yards for himself. That was not even close last season. But I like the call out here. He said that Justin Jefferson is one of the other players that's most likely to set the record. And so, that could be fun. I just wanted to bring this up because that's a fun quote. If we look at our projections for projected receiving yards, the player that's actually not close to 2,000 yards, but the player projected to have the most receiving yards for the season is Puka Nacua, 1,400.
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to project 2,000, obviously.
No, but I'm saying
But did Chase mention himself?
Yes. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on. He said it's closer than people expect for the 2,000 yards. He said the next 3 years somebody has to do it. If it's not me, then he said
Mm.
potentially Justin Jefferson.
I'm surprised he only averaged 13.4 yards per reception last year.
Who, Jamar Chase?
Yeah, it felt like
Yeah.
more. I mean, he had a lot of big plays. A couple 70 yards, 63 yards, but yeah, I would think he's got to be up there. But I guess last year was probably the opportunity for him to do it, and he didn't really come close.
I don't know. T. Higgins was somewhat healthy last season.
I mean, Chase had 175 targets.
Yeah.
I mean, no, Higgins
Jeez.
missed several games.
Yeah,
I
he
think
did miss
Higgins
that.
played
I'm looking
11,
through it.
right?
I'm looking through it now, and that is completely wrong. Because,
Yeah.
but it was always a question mark with his injuries. I always thought that sometimes he was being more cautious because he wanted to get that contract, and he didn't want to get in.
But
He didn't want to get
he
more
has
injured.
always
He's
missed
always
games,
been
though.
yes, he's always been injured.
And now that he got paid, maybe he misses
Don't.
more.
I hope not. I mean, Jamar Chase, though, since entering the league in 2021, he's averaged the most PPR points per game, 19.6 of any wide receiver ever. That's not right now. That's just ever. Um,
Well,
so
he got his college quarterback, and they seem like they're very
yeah,
tight.
they're doing fine together.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to go back and forth on discussing Jamar Chase. T. Higgins has been one though that I will say I've been moving him around. Like I've had him at 14. I have him right now at 12. I just I do get a little bit nervous with the injuries and what that could bring. But last season, I mean, the connection, he's always had a good connection with Joe Burrow. It's just always, making sure that he stays healthy with the last year it was the hamstrings, right?
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
was it a knee too? I
Mm.
mean, I think there was a couple, but yeah, that's the biggest issue with him is, for a guy that is being drafted there, he's never had more than 110 targets, and he's never had more. He hasn't even reached 75 receptions yet in a season. The career high in yards is 1,091, which was in 2021. And really, the big difference last year was he scored touchdowns. He had 10. So that's really what boosted him up. But on the other hand, you look at it, you go, well, this Bengals team, they're going to have to put up points. Once again, they're going to be passing a lot, and that's good for Higgins. So, yeah, he's
Yeah.
a tricky one because you kind of are drafting him basically at his ceiling. The other factor is if something happens to Jamar Chase, though, and he misses sometimes, then Higgins is going to get an immense target share. So, you could see both sides to it of why.
Definitely.
Yeah, but that goes to my point. What I've been saying all week is in that like 12 to 24 range of receivers, you could interchange them, and you also don't feel good about a lot of them. They all
Yeah,
have something
absolutely.
where you're like, yeah, do I click the button here? I don't know.
Yeah, he's got a good well, so T. Higgins had the career high 10 touchdowns last season, and he was not healthy. He only played in 12 games.
Hmm.
And that's been what we've seen from him. He's 26 years old, has missed 10 games total. 10 games total during the last two seasons. But the other part with T. Higgins, and just we know who Jamar Chase is, so we don't have to debate that. But teams that enable multiple top 24 fantasy wide receivers, that's hard to come by. Like that's a difficult feat. But we look at this team and we look at, well, the other side of it is like they are just always going to be. How many times did they score 30 plus points and lose those games last year? Like they were just always having to
They had some brutal
continually to put
losses.
they had bad losses. It just did not bounce their way sometimes. And so you kind of look at that and you say, okay, I still do believe though that Joe Burrow as their quarterback, he can enable two top 24 receivers. Like that's the guy that if anyone's going to do it. But like you said, he's expensive. Like you could be drafting T. Higgins at his ceiling right now because he's going off the board as the wide receiver 12.
And in points per game, though, last year, he was near the top. He was third in PPR in points per game.
18.5. Is that what
What do
you
you
have?
have?
18.5.
I see 19.53.
Okay.
I
Split the
don't.
difference.
Maybe
But wide
does
receiver
yours?
5, right?
In points per game, I have it at 3.
Okay. I'm
All
way
right, it's
off.
close.
We'll
Either way,
figure it
top
out.
five.
It's
So two
close.
guys on the same team in the top 5. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah. So can he do it? Yeah. Especially if he can stay healthy. There's no question about it. I know sometimes people look at there like, oh, two players on the same team, but the Bengals have to play that way. And last year, I mean, part of it was Tyler Boyd was gone, so that helped him too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So it's we'll get 2,000 yards here maybe in the next 3 years. We're not saying that that's going to be from T
Would you
Higgins
say
though.
yes or no on the 2,000 yards? I would probably say no.
I would actually say no too.
Yeah, with
That's
the injuries
hard.
and everything.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
difficult.
so the record is Calvin Johnson,
Hmm.
1964, back in 2012. Cooper Cup came close
I
in
was going to say
2021.
we had one close.
And Jefferson had 1809 in 2022. Tyreek should have been the guy when he had 1799 in 2023. But didn't he slow down late in the season?
He was,
From
yeah, because I remember we almost talked every single week about the on pace counter and what his pace was and what he would have to get throughout each game. He was really close, but then towards the last, it was like the last five maybe, where we kind of knew it was out of reach.
Yeah, because he finished his last four games were 61, 99, 76, and 82. But yeah, because he had 215 to open the season.
Dang.
He had 8 games of at least 100 yards. And they
Wow.
had another one with 99, 88. So, yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
he was
it's.
supposed to do it.
I mean, you do have the extra game now.
Hmm.
So you do have to take that into account. If someone does get 2,000 yards, they're going to be like, well, you had the extra
You want
game
it with an
compared to the other
asterisk?
guys.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but I
I
guess
would
that
say
makes
no.
it a little bit more plausible because you have that extra game. But the injuries are such a big factor too, and then the grind of the season. And as we
Yeah.
just illustrated with Tyreek Hill, you could see, slowed down a little bit there late in the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. I would say no. If you had to say yes, would you pick Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase?
I would
Like
say
those two would be the
Chase.
ones? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the injuries with T. So we'll see. We'll see in the next 3 years. We'll report back on this day 3 years from now. How's
If
that?
we're
I'll put it
here.
in the. I'll put it in. What are you doing? What is wrong with you? I'll put it in the calendar. We're gonna manifest it. It'll be fine. Let me just mention one more thing here. The Jordan Addison case trial was rescheduled for today, I believe it is. So we might get some news on that. That was Kevin Seifert on ESPN.com posted on Tuesday that Addison's hearing is now scheduled for today. We're just waiting. I mean, I've seen kind of some loose reports that maybe he gets 3 games, but I don't think if it's 3 games at him, it's not. Is 3 games enough for you to say I'm gonna push him down my rankings at all, or does that make him less draft worthy for you?
No, not really, because
Okay.
also if it's the first 3 games of the year, that's the best time because no one's on bye, and you should have replacements for him, right, to start the first 3 games of the year. And you could also look at it as an injury. All right, yeah, he's injured. He's going to miss the first 3 games. So, especially in that area where he goes, probably not. You want to bump him down a few spots, okay, but I don't think you have to make a significant downgrade in him.
Okay. We'll hopefully get some answers on that. That feels like we've been talking about that for 2 years.
That's
Maybe
how
we
it goes
have.
with these
I don't.
situations sometimes.
His price isn't crazy. Wide receiver 36 on underdog. So we'll just wait today and see if we get any updates on what a possible, maybe no suspension, what a possible suspension could look like for Jordan Addison. All right, we're going to continue on here. Again, all the pieces of news that we talked about at the Fantasy Life water cooler, fantasylife.com. You can go and subscribe to that newsletter in your inbox 7 days a week. And you can use that code. Use that code SXM20 gets you 20% off any Fantasy Life Plus subscription. So we've got tier 1 and tier 2 available. And we've got great upgrades again to the website, rankings, projections. We've got our cheat sheets for you. We've got the mock draft simulator. Eventually, during the season, we've got all the great start sit tools for you as well. So make sure you head over there. Make sure you sync your league and make sure you go to the Rankings HQ, Draft Champion, all of that good stuff because it looks absolutely amazing. We're continuing on. We're continuing on with the team previews. We got to talk about just how good Garrett Wilson is going to be, Breece Hall, Justin Fields. There's potential here for Jets fans. We're going to give you some optimism. We're going to do that coming up next. Let's be real, you're here to win a fantasy championship. And guess what? You're not going to win it playing it safe. You've got to go hard. And no one understands that better than Mike's Hard Lemonade. To succeed in fantasy, sometimes you got to take bold risks like reaching for a rookie, making a blockbuster trade, or blowing all of your fab on a breakout player. And yes, your league mates might roast you in the group chat, but you guys know legends do not play scared. They go hard, just like Mike's Hard Lemonade. So crack open a cold Mike's, kick back for a second, and remember, nobody makes lemonade like Mike's. Find Mike's nearest you at www.mikeshard.com. Mike's is hard, so is prison. Don't drive drunk. Premium malt beverage with flavors, all registered trademarks used under license by Mike's Hard Lemonade Co., Chicago, Illinois. Oh, this is fantasy life right here. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Thursday. Happy to be here. Happy to be talking about fantasy football. What could be better, Adam? Besides a full 8 hours of sleep, nothing.
Yeah, that would be the only thing. But even then, I don't even think I would put that in the conversation.
Okay, I agree with you. And this is a reminder. This is a random reminder because I texted Adam last night. I said, "How much are league dues? How much is it?" Just a reminder. If you're a commissioner right now, get your stuff start setting up. It's July 17th. You want to make sure. I'm in one of these situations right now. Make sure you get your stuff all figured out. If you got dates, if you want to make sure that everyone can attend, do it right now. Remind people how much it is, how much the cost is. Get those payments in early because we're less than 50 days away. You want to make sure that you're ready to go.
Yeah, look, as a commissioner, you have to be stern. You've seen my emails. I
Oh yeah,
say
you're kind of scary
the
actually.
money is due this day. Like, and I do it usually a week and a half to 2 weeks before the draft. This way, if I run into a problem, you get replaced. Like,
Mhm.
again, it's not being, a jerk. It's just you don't want to be in a situation where it's the end of the year and you got your commissioner and you got a couple friends in the league. Oh yeah, well, I'm having some financial problems, I'll pay you later. No, because
Mm-mm.
the winner doesn't want to hear it. So you got to get all the money beforehand. We've heard so many stories with people and their friends and they don't talk because of this. You got to get it done early. So I collect everything early, but everyone who has played in the league knows you get paid immediately. Once
Yep.
that season ends and maybe there's a day for stat corrections, whatever, you're going to get paid immediately. And that's how it should be. You shouldn't have to wait. So the most important part is getting the money before the draft starts. Don't wait and let it
Oh,
linger.
yeah.
Oh, I'll pay you. Yeah, give me a month. No, if you can't pay up front, you shouldn't be in the league. Simple.
Yep.
I understand fantasy is supposed to be fun. We have some leagues that are just for fun. But if anything that involves money and friends, you got to get the money beforehand. And commissioners sometimes make that mistake of being too lenient. And you hear these stories. Well, yeah, I didn't get paid. No one wants to hear that. You win the league, you want your money, and you deserve it. So you got
Yep.
to make sure as a commissioner to be stern, get that money up front. And that's the most difficult part, just getting all the money. Then after that, it's like smooth sailing. And you
Yep.
have all the rules, and there should be no conflict because that's the worst part of it is when you have all these issues. But I always tell people who are a commissioner, you've got to get the money beforehand, like a week before. Now, maybe if someone says, "Hey, I'll show up at the draft and pay you in cash," if it's a draft in person, maybe. I don't know if I would even do it then because what if they don't show up and now you're
Yeah.
bailing?
Yeah.
And no one uses cash anymore anyway. Like, I don't know, like how many people actually have
I'm
cash?
giving you cash for our dues. I'm gonna do
You're
that
not
now.
coming to the draft, so that's not
Yeah,
going to work.
I'll see you when I see you.
Yeah,
No.
okay, sure. But yeah, it is very
It is
important though.
important.
We don't kind of talk about those things a lot, but setting up your league and having a good commissioner, it just makes it so
Yeah.
simple when everything is done at the proper time and everyone gets paid. You just want to have a good, smooth experience. So yeah, over these years, I never have any issue. People know, and if you have a problem, then again, don't join the league. If you can't afford it or can't pay, just don't join the league. It's simple. Find a
Yeah.
league that's $10, $20, or just for fun.
Exactly. Exactly. So I just wanted to say that because we haven't said that yet, but it's closing in on time to get the home league draft set up, get the dates finalized so everyone that can potentially be there. And then, pay your commissioners. That's what you need to do. Pay your commissioner and so you don't have to worry about it. We'll see if you're paying your commissioner and you're drafting Justin Fields, you might be excited this season. You might say, "Hey, you know what? I could get a cut of this money." And I fully 100% agree with that. that I know you and I are both on the same page with Justin Fields, but he might be the late round quarterback to target in drafts this season. Again, I've mentioned before on this show that it just doesn't feel like we have the full Jaden Daniels experience this season, where Jaden Daniels was going outside the top 10 last year. You and I talked about him almost every day, just trying to tell people, say, hey, he has too much upside, rushing upside, in this offense where he should not be going that late. Feels like Justin Fields is that guy this year, although Justin Fields, hear me out, he is not Jaden Daniels. He's not going to give you those, that potential. Maybe he could, but right now he is just not on that same level. But Justin Fields right now, consensus fantasy life ranking QB 12. And when we saw, fantasy points per game, he has shown us what he can do. I know he only had 6 games with the Steelers last season, but he put up 18.9 fantasy points per game, which was good for QB8 finish if he was, again, smaller sample size, 6 games. You got a QB 11, 17.7 fantasy points per game in 2023, and then 2022, 19.7 QB5. So we have seen this before with him, Adam, and I know we've talked a good amount of Justin Fields. We're going to keep talking about Justin Fields just to tell you that if you want to wait and not get one of those elite quarterbacks, if you don't like that range in the middle, which is, Patrick Mahomes, Baker, Mayfield, Bo Nix, Kyler Murray, you can wait. He's not a secret anymore, Adam. I don't think he's ever been a secret. So you might be in a league where someone just really likes him and kind of jumps and takes him with, as the 9th, 8th quarterback overall. I wouldn't fault them because there is potential here for Fields to turn in a really good fantasy football season.
Yeah, and like you said, we've seen it before. He is 6th in fantasy points per start over the last 3 seasons. He averages 50 rushing yards per game in his career. So he just gives you that high floor. It is not going to be pretty. There are going to be some times you're watching him and he's going to drive you crazy because he's sitting there with 3 fantasy points in the second quarter, and you're like, oh boy, I'm not going to get anything this week. And then he breaks off a 45-yard run for a touchdown. So it is going to be a little bit of a roller coaster, but in the end, the fantasy points are there. Yes, in real life, a lot of people don't like him, don't think he's a good quarterback. He takes a lot of sacks, but we're talking fantasy, and there is a difference here. And he's been productive, whether it's with the Bears or the Steelers last year. Yeah, his 6 games, he was a QB1 in 3 of the 6 games. And
yeah.
So, and I think as far as the starting job, I would be stunned. Like, the Jets basically committed to him. 2 years, $40 million, $30 million guaranteed. Last year we knew more than likely he was not starting the entire year. With Russell Wilson there, like, he was doing well, and we were talking about it every week. All right, is this the week that they pull him? It's like,
yep.
And they were winning games. So it's not he doesn't have a ton of wide receivers to throw to, but
no.
you don't really need it. I mean, it was kind of similar with Chicago. He had DJ Moore, and he was able to be a productive fantasy quarterback. So yeah, if you wait on quarterback and you don't if you miss out on the elite, maybe that was your plan and they went too expensive, I'd rather go with Fields than dip in that Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray tier. I'd rather pass on that and wait on Fields.
A good stat here is that 31 quarterbacks who have had 100 plus carries in a season from 2014 to 2024, 42% of them, so that's 13 quarterbacks, finished as a top 3 fantasy quarterback on a per game basis. But then right in the middle, still the sweet spot, 20 of them, so that's 65%, finished as a top 6 fantasy quarterback. The projections for Justin Fields on the ground is something that will excite you. We know he's not going to be a prolific passer, amazing through the air. Maybe he gets better though. Like, maybe it does get better, and we're not talking bad like Anthony Richardson, but we only have him projected right now for 2,869 passing yards. But the rushing yards, you've got 140 rush attempts, 140, and then 826 and a half rushing yards for Justin Fields, 6 rushing touchdowns for Fields.
Well,
that's what makes him different.
Based on that data, I'm looking at the regular season rushing yards prop for Fields. It's 650 and a half on DraftKings at minus 110 to the over.
No, you should smash the over.
Well, like we said, I said 50 rushing yards per game is the average in his career. So if he plays the full season and he does stick to that, then yeah, he's going over that pretty easily.
I mean, 140, the 140 rushing attempts has to be, hang on, I'm finding it. So Jalen Hurts, I said this a couple days ago. Jalen Hurts is the only one that has more, but Justin Fields in the rushing yards department is second behind Lamar Jackson in potential projected rushing yards. Lamar Jackson is sitting at 857. And again, Justin Fields, 826 and a half. That's huge.
Yeah, look,
That's why you draft him.
so the most games he's played in a season was 2022. He played 15. He had 160 rushing attempts. Then in 2023, he played 13 games at 124. So, and last year, well, I can't count last year. It was 10 games, but what was it, 6 starts? So,
Yeah, 6 starts.
yeah, so that's misleading. But yeah, 50 games in his
Yeah.
career, 418 rushing attempts.
You know what to do with Justin Fields, or you know where we sit with Justin Fields. He is one of those guys, but we've talked about this before. There it might not be to Jaden Daniels level, but there are solid late round quarterbacks this season that you could wait for, because that range, I understand. Like, yes, we have Baker Mayfield consensus QB7, and that's where he's projected to finish, even with potential regression. But you might just not like that range. Like, it is kind of gross, Adam. Like Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, like you can look at it, and then Brock Purdy. And you look at that range, you're like, okay, like I'm not enamored with any of these guys. But then, some of the later round quarterbacks, but again, it's a risk. But that's what we do with fantasy, Adam. And that's why we always talk about some of these late round quarterbacks, is that if they hit like a Baker Mayfield last season, I mean, they can be league winners. So Justin Fields is one we like. We like waiting on potentially a Trevor Lawrence, potentially a Drake May. There's some good options out there.
Yeah, J.J. McCarthy's another one.
McCarthy,
You could
yep.
even put Dak Prescott in there. I know he doesn't run, but 2 of the last 3 years that he's been healthy, 36 and 37 touchdowns.
Are you in on Brees Hall? It feels I don't know if in on is the right question,
Yeah,
but Brees
I'm
Hall right
willing to take
now,
him. Yeah.
Brees Hall right now RB12. In on underdog. Yeah, I'm willing to
Yeah,
take
like
him too.
last year was such a disappointment, but new coaching staff, and he's still young. He's shown he could do it before. I think there was a little trepidation about a month or two ago when Aaron Glenn came out with that quote about, yeah, we're going to use all 3 running backs. I don't think that's going to pan out. It's going to be mostly Hall. They will mix in Braylon Allen, I believe,
Hmm.
but they also are going to run a lot. Like, this is going to be maybe the most run heavy team in the NFL, and they are absolutely going to be the bottom in pass attempts. I mean, that's the way they built this team with Fields. So obviously Fields is going to soak up a lot of the rushing attempts, as we mentioned. He could be in the 140 to 160 range, but they are going to run a lot.
They
And
are.
Brees Hall can bounce back. Again, it was very disappointing last year, especially
Yeah, it
since
was
Hall was
awful.
taken as like one of the first 3 running backs off the board.
Yeah, it was disappointing to say the least. He finished PPR points per game 15.1, I see, close to RB17.
It felt
It's
worse,
not,
but
it did feel worse,
I
but
guess when
it was the
someone is
last half of the season.
and when you're selected as a top 3 running back and
Yeah.
you finish that low, it's just an absolutely
He had
it's a gut punch.
he had career lows in a lot of like tackles avoided per carry, yards after contact per carry. It just wasn't great
He
overall,
had
but
a
I
good
agree with you.
start to this season
That's what I'm
though.
saying. It was the back half of the
Yeah,
season where he really fell off.
he had at least 18 points in PPR in 5 of his first 7 games,
Yeah. And then what happened?
and then it fell apart.
Yeah, then it wasn't good. I understand too. I will throw this out there that if you look at the price for Brees Hall, and he's going at the end of the third round, really. So he's going at the 3-4 turn. So he's going ahead of Kyron Williams, James Cook, Amari and Hampton. But I do understand people that say I'd rather wait, because I've seen, people saying, well, I'd rather wait to get an RJ Harvey who, could get good solid volume. Probably not right now though with J.K. Dobbins, but guys a little bit later in better offenses overall. Kind of understandable, but you just know that it's just going to be focused on the run for this team week in and week out. So I'm still in on him, especially at the end. Like I said, the end of the third round. Like I think that's good.
Yeah, especially if you start a draft with 2 wide receivers and you're
Hmm.
looking for running back. I mean, end of round 3, I'm fine with that price. I think I might only have him in 1 league so far, but a lot of it also comes down to where you draft. I mean,
Yeah.
When you're talking early round picks, there are certain guys that if you're in a specific draft slot, you just don't have the ability to get them unless you reach like crazy, and you really don't want to do that early in the draft.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. So again, the Jets preview we just talked about, but we have all of the previews for all teams at fantasylife.com. So make sure you go and check those out. Ian Harditz does a great job on all of those. Let's keep talking about the running backs, but let's focus on some rookies because we need to dive into some of the rookie running back projections, who we like, who we're fading. Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey. We'll talk a little Caleb Johnson. We're going to go through their projections and what to expect coming up next. We are helping you dominate your leagues, getting you ready for draft season. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here, Fantasy Life on Sirius XM, Fantasy Sports Radio, talking through some projections over on the upgraded website fantasylife.com to go and check that out. Wanted to just, get your take on some of these rookies and what your expectations are. We've talked a lot in these last couple weeks just about our draft strategy and how none of these guys, by the way, are going to be later round picks that you can throw darts on. But these rookie running backs, sometimes you have to exercise a little bit of patience. Some of them, are in some kind of committee or a timeshare where we say, hey, there's potential for them to go ahead and get that RB1 role, but it might not be, week one. You might just have to be patient with some of these guys. I want to start with Travion Henderson, new running back for the New England Patriots. And Adam, what do you think this backfield is going to look like? Like, are you still drafting Ramondre Stevenson with the idea that it's going to be this 1A, 1B split? I know right away, in our projections, we have it being that 1A, 1B split, 46% of the attempts going to Ramondre Stevenson, 44% going to Travion Henderson. But Travion Henderson's ceiling projections, even the median projections are nice. I mean, 15.6 fantasy points per game and 10 fantasy points per game for the median projection. Have you drafted him a lot?
Yeah, I've been drafting Henderson. I prefer him. I mean, it could be a split, but Henderson they took in the second round. He's explosive. He can catch the ball. They need some speed in this offense. So I've been taking him. Now he is that second round pick that's not signed. So let's hope this gets done in the next few days as we're waiting on most of these second round picks to sign. Because again, yeah, this is a good running back class for rookies, and some will start slowly being a committee, but I do think Henderson's going to play a big role in this Patriots offense and help Drake May out.
Yeah, I agree. He was explosive at Ohio State. We kind of know what he's getting, or we're getting with him. And I will say, McDaniel's. When we look at that, just the past running back usage, that's the one thing that you can look at and say, okay, is he going to completely take over this backfield? But I was taking him before, the news with Judkins. I was taking him way more than Judkins over there. So I agree with you on that one. Again, projections are at fantasylife.com. Do you feel the same way about RJ Harvey for the Denver Broncos? I know RJ Harvey drafters, well, let me say this. RJ Harvey drafters were probably excited to hear the news about J.K. Dobbins because that made Harvey a bit cheaper in drafts because he was expensive to start. He still is, expensive when we look at the grand scheme of things. But floor projection, 8.6 points per game. Median projection right now is 11.1 fantasy points per game. And then his ceiling is sitting at 15 points per game. So again, the J.K. Dobbins signing obviously doesn't help things, but I still have not shied away from drafting RJ Harvey. I really like him in this offense. It feels like such a Sean Payton pick for that team that he's just going to fit in so perfectly. So while I try to not totally dismiss J.K. Dobbins at him, I haven't necessarily it hasn't made me stop drafting Harvey.
Yeah, you like this type of pass catcher to Sean
Yes.
Payton offense. That's what is really appealing. And, he's quick. He's got good agility and vision. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, the price did dip a little bit with Dobbins being there. But Harvey seems like a good fit for this offense. So, yeah, I do want some RJ Harvey on my fantasy teams this year.
RB21 is where he's
Yeah.
going, which it's understandable. It makes sense to me. I really like RJ Harvey in this offense. He's going around James Conner Travion Henderson, he's ahead of Travion Henderson, not by much. RB21, RB22, and then you've got Caleb Johnson, who we can talk about for the Steelers. Caleb Johnson, his projection's still good as well. He's projected to handle 53% of the rushing attempts, take over the early down role to begin the season. I'm not. Jalen Warren is one where I've actually still found myself drafting Warren. But the projection for Caleb Johnson, floor projection 7.1 fantasy points per game, ceiling is 15.2, and then median right there in the middle, 10.2 fantasy points per game.
It's funny because for years people have been saying, all right, Jalen Warren, he needs this opportunity. Then Naji Harris is gone and they do draft Caleb Johnson. But I'm interested to see like what the distribution here is between these two. I mean, we saw Warren catch 61 passes 2 years ago.
Yeah. I've taken more Jalen Warren than I have Caleb Johnson.
Well, he's much cheaper too.
Yeah, he is. I just don't. This is one where I don't necessarily see Caleb Johnson coming out and just completely taking over the backfield like we expect with an Omari and Hampton type. Like I just even look at, the rushing attempts. You can say yes, that's going to go to Caleb Johnson. 218 we have him projected for, and then 135 to Jalen Warren. But I look at the targets. 51 going to Jalen Warren, 15 and a half going to Caleb Johnson, and that equals out to over 300 receiving yards for Jalen Warren as well. So this truly, to me, I feel like could be split, but I'm still, if I want an option in this backfield, I am going for the cheaper one in Jalen Warren.
Remember too who the quarterback is, Aaron Rodgers. If Caleb Johnson is out there making mistakes, what do you think is going to happen?
I feel like Aaron he won't. He'll demand better from everyone.
Exactly.
Jalen Warren RB32. And like I said, Caleb Johnson is 23. So if you want the cheaper option, you can go and get it.
Yeah, and sometimes that's what you do. There's going to be other scenarios like we talked with some of the other running backs, like, yeah, the price is higher, but you just like the fit. And other times you're going to be like, I'll just take the cheaper option and hope that the split is more close than anticipated.
J.K. Dobbins RB36. I thought he was going to be higher than that, to be honest. I thought people were going to be back in on him because he wasn't awful.
No, he was good, especially
good
to start the year. I thought he was good considering the expectations that people had for him. He started the season with 2 130-yard games.
Yep.
He did tail off though towards the end.
I felt sick
I think
after
that was
those
to be
first 2 weeks.
That had to be expected though when he had all those injuries and missed so much time. That was his first full year since 2020.
Yeah, I would think so. But I just thought he would be a little bit more expensive or people would be back on him. But RB36 isn't awful. But you're right. The production that he gives you, it's going to be the question of how long is that going to last, and when RJ Harvey does take over this backfield, when's that going to happen, kind of thing. So again, our projections are live at fantasylife.com. The floor ceiling projections are one of my favorite upgrades that we have. So make sure you guys go and check those out. Use that code SXM20, gets you 20% off any Fantasy Life Plus Tier 1 or Tier 2 subscription. We're going to close things out. I still have some names here that I want to go through of potential breakout from each team. I've got just 2 more names that I want to see if you agree with. We're going to do that here coming up next. As always, Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here on Fantasy Life. Make sure you stay locked in, though. FSGA National Conference Draft with Jim Coventry and Nick Whalen is coming up next. Then at 2 p.m. Eastern, you've got Elite Sports with Jeff Manns. 5 p.m. Eastern, Fantasy Footballers. 6 p.m. Eastern, Fantasy Alarm. And then 8 p.m. Eastern, you've got Football Diehards with Bob Dempsey and Bob Dempsey. What am I doing? Bob Harris. And Mike Dempsey, we gotta take a breath. Keep it locked in though. Football diehards, great. We're still.
At least you're not having the worst day of anyone. So
no, are you having the? Oh
no, we know who's having the worst day.
Oh,
we talked about it during the break.
Oh, okay. See, you got to fill me in on these. I'm like, wait, are you having that bad of a day? I thought we've had a great day. But you're right. One potential breakout from each team. I just wanted to bring up one more name because we didn't get to talk about it earlier in the show, but this was a list that The Athletic put out from their beat writers. Stop. No, we're not talking. I think everyone knows that Brian Thomas has already broken out and probably will continue to do so. But can we get back to the Xavier Legette train? Are we back on that? Xavier Legette, breakout? I'm in.
Yeah, were you in on him last year? I
Mm,
forgot. You were?
I mean, I took him in a few drafts. I
Okay.
was more in on him than who was it was Jalen Coker.
Hmm.
A lot of people went to. The whole wide receiver group for the Panthers though was so bad
It was.
last
Look, a
year.
lot comes down to Bryce Young, right? And there are people that think that what we saw last year towards the end of the season can't continue. We know to Tedero McMillan coming in, he's going to draw a lot of targets, but does open it up for someone else. And yeah, Adam Thielen might still be productive, but no one's drafting him in fantasy. So
No,
if you're looking for someone else, it would be Leggett, who is very cheap.
he is cheap. We're projected for 80 targets. 123 going to Tedero McMillan. I'll just like the supporting cast rating was so bad last season. They were just all bad. I know Jalen Coker. A lot of people wanted him to go off. Adam Thielen at 34 years old was outplaying everyone, but I don't know. I just wanted to mention Xavier Legette. See what you thought.
Yeah, no,
Besides
I could
Brian
see it,
Thomas Jr.
especially since he's going so late. It's a cheap price on
He
him.
is going late. They did have your guy though, Cedric Tillman. I've moved him up in my rankings since our conversation, looking at the projections, looking at some of the it's not hype yet, but
Yeah, let's
he's
keep it
someone to
quiet.
know.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
sorry.
look, he's
I'm
cheap,
sorry.
and look, I get it. There's a lot of questions with the quarterback situation, but when he came in and got that opportunity, I know it was a small stretch, and then he had the concussion, and it just kept him out. I was like, all right, maybe he'll miss a week, because usually that's what you expect, right? With
Hmm.
concussions, oh, they'll miss a week, and then, but as we've seen, some of them are more severe. I mean, Chris Olave is an example, even though he's had multiple, but
Yeah,
yeah, Tillman's a good player.
we'll keep it quiet. We won't mention him again. But if you're listening right now, that's definitely been one of our the sleeper targets to go and get Cedric Tillman. I will say it felt like last season we had a lot more of the concussions that lasted more than a week.
Yeah. Didn't Malik Neighbors miss 2 weeks
Malik
too? Yeah.
Neighbors wasn't. There was AJ Brown. There was a lot of guys where we thought they would just come back right away, which is, I mean, good. You know, concussion protocol. We take that seriously. But oh, is this Coldplay?
Yes, it is.
Okay, maybe we should go to their concert.
Let's go.
This
Get
is
the tickets. I'm
incredible.
in.
I just didn't know that they were that big of a deal, and now I'm seeing their concert. I'm seeing other things happening at their concerts, but
A
I'm
lot of
seeing
wild
like a
things
lot
at
of
their
stuff.
concerts.
We're gonna go there. We're gonna see you same time here tomorrow.